Tibalt the Fiend-Blooded Oathbreaker. Man, I remember when this card released way back in the day. It was a laughingstock. This card stunk. But in Oathbreaker, it's actually not that bad. It's pretty good. 2-mana Planeswalker. There are only 2 options right now for a 2-mana Planeswalker in Oathbreaker. The power here comes from being able to cast your signature spell even sooner. And if your deck is based around the signature spell, then Tibalt is just kind of a means to an end to get there fast. Tibalt's Trickery is both very thematic and potentially powerful. It's a 2-mana instant. Counter target spell. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. With this card, you're countering your own spells, and you're hoping to flip into your bombs. If your deck is built around this card, then it could be crazy good to have this in the command zone as a signature spell. Erratic Explosion is a 3-mana sorcery. Choose target creature or player. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. Erratic Explosion deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to that creature or player. Calibrated Blast is the same thing, except it's an instant, so it's even better actually. The entire rest of the deck would be lands, except for one card called Draco, which is your biggest in-color option for dealing damage to them. 16 damage it would deal. After that, you'd have to rely on Tibalt to finish them off, and probably creature lands, lands that deal damage to your opponent somehow. I would really only consider this for one-on-one Oathbreaker, but it seems strong. You're really putting all your eggs in one basket with this plan, though. If it doesn't work out, you're just screwed. If a glass cannon type of strategy is not your thing, I'll understand. Jessica's Will is probably your best bet for a longer game strategy. It's a 3-mana sorcery. Choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast the spell, you may choose both. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. This card is just super value. Very good. And being able to cast it early game on turn 3, your opponents probably have a pretty full hand. Devastating Dreams is a weird land destruction type of card. For red, as an additional cost to play Devastating Dreams, discard X cards at random from your hand. Each player sacrifices X lands. Devastating Dreams deals X damage to each creature. If you can play this before they get their Oathbreakers out, it kind of resets the whole board. Any creatures they played are probably dead. All their lands are gone, yours are gone too. I'm not sure what exactly you do from there, but I'm pretty sure a deck could be built around this card very powerfully. I'd be interested to see what a deck like that would play like. Gamble is a 1-mana sorcery. Search your library for a card and put that card into your hand. Discard a card at random. So it searches up whatever you need, and you might even get to keep it. If you want to do some kind of a graveyard strategy, which granted would be hard to do in red, not really the color for that, but Wheel of Fortune is legal and really good. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. This also works great with Tibalt's -4, which deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand to that player. In a deck built to get Metalcraft very quickly, Molten Psyche might be a good choice. For 3 mana, each player shuffles the cards from his or her hand into their library, then draws that many cards. Metalcraft. If you control 3 or more artifacts, Molten Psyche deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards that player has drawn this turn. If you don't want your opponent drawing cards, and you just want to draw and discard yourself, Faithless Looting and Goblin Lore probably your best bet. Lastly, if we just want a good removal spell in the signature spell slot, you can't go wrong with Chaos Warp. It's 3 mana, so it's on curve. It gets rid of anything. It's always good. Wild Magic Surge is surprisingly good in Oathbreaker, though, and I'll explain why. For red, it's an instant, destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a permanent card that shares a card type with that permanent. They put that card onto the battlefield. I think most of the time that's just straight up worse, but if you target a Planeswalker with it, I think there's a good chance most decks are not going to have a second Planeswalker in the deck. That's just something to think about if you're really concerned about keeping their Oathbreaker off the board. So, what signature spell would you pick? Do you agree that this is strong? Do you think it still stinks? Let me know in the comments. I've got dozens of these videos exploring Planeswalker signature spell combinations, so if you like this video, you could check out some of those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.